So let me ask you this. Obama's a liberal kind of guy. You think he's the president. He must know this is going on. Wouldn't he step in and say, listen, I just learned of something?
Well, Obama's just another Democrat. You're learning that.
Well, that's true.
Didn't he run on a big thing of change?
Yes.
Well,
Anybody see any change?
No.
Not only did he run on a thing of change, but he said exactly what you said when he was running, that wars in Afghanistan and Iraq are increasing terrorism.
That's
yet
right.
He's escalating the war.
Well, what does that tell you?
What should his speech been the other night? Should it have been, hey, look, we can't win this thing. This is like Vietnam. Rather than drag this out for another 5 years and risk 30,000 more troops, we're leaving.
That's what I would have did.
Could it have been that simple?
Well, it's like Ron Paul said. Everybody says you can't leave. It's so complicated. And I love what Representative Paul said. He said, hey, we marched in. We can march out. It's
and what about
simple.
this notion? I saw one senator saying, listen, we started this thing. We can't say to the enemy, the terrorists, we're leaving. We can't do that because it's going to affect our security here at home. It's going to send a message that we're weak. What about that argument?
Well, that's what they used in Vietnam, too,
right.
didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And it worked, didn't it?
It didn't work at all.
So if something works, use it again. Well, you know what angers me, Howard?
Would it upset you if the Taliban just walked right back in and started running things in Afghanistan again?
Well, let me tell you this. The Taliban actually did the largest war on drugs in history.
Because
when they went in, Afghanistan produces 90% of the world's heroin.
Right.
The Taliban came in and put all those heroin guys in jail.
I thought they were running the whole Taliban.
Yeah, everybody was telling
heroin.
us they
That's
were
what they're telling you here.
Heroin.
You think the
Taliban put the drug dealers in jail. When we got over there, we let them out because we needed them for an ally. Now the heroin business is back up. And let's remember something. All this illegal drug money is filtered right through the international banks. Do you think there's a correlation between what happened to the banks and the fact that the heroin industry was shut down for 2 years?
Oh, then we need it.
All that dirty money.
You're saying this with a straight face, that the banking industry was affected by the lack of heroin.
Yeah.
Because there's so much dirty money going through the banks.
There's so much laundered money, billions of dollars that go through the international banks.
That it actually collapsed the banking system.
Well, it could have helped lead to it. Because all of a sudden, if they are not getting these billions of dollars, Howard.
Wow.
You know, and now it's back up and running, and our economy's coming back again, and the heroin industry is back up at full force again, the poppy growing.
All right.
So it's actually a heroin war we're fighting.
That's why Artie hates the Taliban. They ruined the heroin business.
It could be. I don't know. But that's just one of the things, you know, that goes on. That and like for me, my government's lied to me so much they have no credibility.
When did you start realizing the government lied to you?
What were the lies?
Because you were a patriot.
Well,
you were a guy who was a Navy SEAL. You were a guy who served his country. When did you realize everything was a lie?
Vietnam.
That's what that did it.
That started it.
Right.
And then the last one.
You realized everyone was sort of incompetent.
The last one for me was 2004 when I was teaching at Harvard. That's when Robert McNamara came through and admitted the Gulf of Tonkin incident never happened.
That's right.
Now, that's the incident for the young people out there that don't know that got us full-fledged into the Vietnam War, where 58,000 of our generation died and probably 1 million Vietnamese over something that never happened.
It was fabricated so that they could escalate the war.
Yeah, so that,
and that's why you believe 9/11.
Like weapons of mass destruction,
right?
Like ties to Al-Qaeda in Iraq. All manufactured to get us in the war. All bullshit.
Possibly 9/11, you say, was all part of it.
Well, could be.
Yep.
Could be. Well, let me ask you this. Here's a simple way to look at it, Howard. Our government and our system of law, we have a system you have to go through, correct?
Yes.
A rule of law.
Yes.
All right. How can we convict someone before indicting them? Which is what we've done with bin Laden. We've convicted him, yet the government has never gone in front of the grand jury. They have never presented any evidence and had the grand jury of citizens bring down an indictment.
Hasn't bin Laden himself admitted that?
No, he initially 1 week after the event, he said to the AP he had nothing to do with it.
And you might be right. It's true. We just hear the name bin Laden and assume.
Well, let's remember what my son said to me one day. Bin Laden worked for the CIA. He even had a name. He was an operative. There's an old saying, once in the CIA, always in the CIA.
He was an ally in Afghanistan when the Russians were fighting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all of a sudden now he's, you know, how convenient.
You say you've been going around saying something about Sarah Palin. I agree. Whether you know, I think she's a lightweight. I don't think she knows a thing in the world. But the most offensive thing, of course, is the fact that she quit being the governor. You don't quit midterm and say you're somehow a patriot for quitting.
Yeah, and not only that, but what a violation to all the voters of Alaska.
Of course.
I mean, that's a contract.
Why do you think she quit? Because she smelled the money out there?
She smelled the money, and she wants to go after higher office.
And would you ever vote for a quitter?
Never.
Never. Me neither.
Never. Because if the going gets tough, will she quit again?
She'll quit again and go out on the circuit.
It's like I said, she'd never be a frogman.
No.
Once you utter the words, I quit, you're gone. There ain't no second chance. You're out of there. And I'll tell you this, Howard, I remember every guy I graduated with from BUDS, Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training.
Yes.
I remember every guy I graduated with. I do not remember one guy today who quit.